Hey guys, T2RX6 here, back for another third-party review, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Fansproject Function X-02 Quadruple U, otherwise known as Weird Wolf. And if you don't understand how they got to that name, don't worry, I was with you. It took a friend explaining it to me until it hit me, and then I felt kind of stupid. But yeah, so Weird Wolf is WW if you abbreviate it, I guess, and so two double U's would be 4 U's, so Quadruple U. There you go. So this is Quadruple U. He is, of course, Weird Wolf, and he looks pretty good in his wolf mode here. He's got okay articulation in wolf mode. I have a really hard time posing quadruped animals in a way that makes them look okay. Quadruple U not being any different in that sense. His only articulation on his head, well, you can go and look up and down here a little. Well, you can look down. You can only go this far up without actually moving the chest. You can also open his mouth if you want. The head's okay. I'm not a huge fan of his head, to be completely honest. I see more of a Oriental dragon look to it more than I see the wolf, but it's not horrible. I just think it could have been maybe a little bit better, something a little more, I don't know, wolf-like. It just looks dragon to me. For his articulation here, you've got a ball-jointed socket here, so you get a little bit of side-to-side motion. You got the rotation, and this is all going to be shared among bot mode for the most part. His elbow and then the paws actually articulate here a little. And then for the back legs, again, you got this nice ball jointed back piece here for a nice full range of motion. Then ball jointed, this is actually, I think this makes up part of his knee joint here. And that is on a ball joint. And then you got the paws again too. So you can get him in a variety of poses. I'm just not so good at doing them. But based on his head articulation, you can kind of only get him into, like, you know, sort of sniffing the ground or, you know, ready to pounce on something looks. I really wish that they had included a rotation on the head so you could actually turn it left and right, even if they had just taken this piece here and made it on a separate swivel or something like that. I think that would have helped a lot, but I can't do it. So the tail itself on the back has no articulation. It's just plugged in to his thighs there, basically. You'll see that in a minute. Of course, you do have the red canopy on top, and that does actually house your headmaster in there. And to actually get him in, you have to open this panel on the neck, because you'll see his feet actually sit down in that part of the compartment, and then the majority of the headmaster in here. So it's nice that he has the headmaster. I really like the headmaster gimmick, so I'm never going to complain about that. So it's nice to include it. Not as nice as it was on Code. So let's take a look at the little headmaster here. If it'll focus. He got some pretty good painted detail. A little bit sloppy on the face, but hey, it's so small, it's okay. Articulation on this guy is just kind of very basic. You got the arms that can go up. You got the knee joints. And then you can, of course, rotate his legs so he can sit down in multiple positions. Looking at the back here, you can see pieces of the robot. You can actually see his eyes. I don't really like his transformation as much as I did Codes or Chrome Dome, whatever you want to call him. But it's not bad, and from the back, you can hardly tell that it's actually going to end up being a robot head, so they did a pretty good job, I gotta say. It's just not quite as innovative as I felt that Codes was. For comparison, let's actually bring Code/Chrome Dome over here. Had to pop his head off and put him into his robot mode. There you go, for comparison. Code ultimately feels a lot cleaner and better, but I don't know. This guy is probably a little more complex, even though he doesn't transform quite as nicely. Now I'm going to try to take this guy, well, I'm going to take him to his robot mode, and I'm going to try to remember to bring him back to the wolf mode, because he comes packaged in his robot mode. but what's the fun of starting in robot mode? For comparison here, remember Code had this really awesome, when you did his waist crunch here, you would end up revealing his eyes, which helped hide the robot mode. That is not the case at all with this guy. When you move his pieces, nothing changes. What you end up having to do here is rotate this all down just the same way you would on Chrome Dome, but you can see all it does is just rotate everything out of the way here. And then take this, fold this on up like that, and then you have to extend out the visor. It's on a little slide joint. If you didn't realize that, you can risk breaking it, and then basically just fold it down and in front of his face. And there you got Weird Wolf's face. Looking pretty good. I really like the yellow eyes behind the red visor. I think that is really quite sharp looking. It's a nice head. I can't fault it, even though the transformation maybe is a little less interesting than Code's. And if you are curious, of course, you could take your Weird Wolf head if you really wanted and plug it right in on Code, and that wouldn't be a problem. It actually probably would look pretty darn cool on that virus version of Code, the black repaint. We'll leave Chrome Dome's head off for now. So let's actually get back to the main body here. Focus camera. So transforming this guy is pretty easy ultimately. I was a little worried that he was going to have your quadruped problem where transformation is basically, you know, fold the legs and then lie him down, and thankfully that's not the case. There are a couple more steps, and I guess I shouldn't have worried so much because it is Fansproject. So the first thing we're going to do is just split the top and bottom here, and then take out his sword just like this, and we'll leave that to the side. Then what we're going to do is come around to the top pieces here, and we'll open everything up, and that's going to help me remember exactly what I need to do. And take this and kind of extend these pieces out to the side here. You have to get this chest piece a little out of the way, and they tell you to flip it up for when you're transforming it to the wolf mode, but it doesn't really flip all that much, and it's kind of attached to the head. So anyway, once you get them put up, you can bring that chest piece back down, and that'll lock it into place. And we'll take the wolf head and kind of tuck it into this compartment here, and just bring the wolf head straight up, and then we can close this back up again, like so. We'll come back around to here. Just put the screw facing backwards, that's the easiest way to remember it. And you've got this mess of legs right now, so flip these around so this yellow piece is forward and then backwards. And what you do is you take this little black joint assembly and swing it on in, and it's going to form his knee there on both sides, like so. Then, this is a interesting part here. You're going to take this and flip this down. So what was, you know, going across his shin there is now going to go down to make his foot and his heel spur. And you just kind of take all this stuff and flip it this way. It's a little easier to do that before you flip that shin. And you'll see these tabs here, and they're going to just plug in down here. So you take this, and that kind of turns his wolf legs into knee pads of sorts. So we'll do that again here. I'm going to flip this ahead of time, make my life easier. Flip this around, like so. Plug that on in, and there we go. We got some legs. Make sure our body's facing forward. Just bring the arms down like this. The arms are very easy to transform. Once they're down like this, you got this little back piece here, and you're just going to kind of spin it around like that, and close his paw up like so, and then spin it so it's forward, and you'll see that that extra piece kind of made like a thumb for his arm there. So do that again. Spin this around, spin this down, close that up, thumb. Make sure our elbow joint is facing the right way. And there we go. We've got a ready to go body with no head. So we'll take our Weird Wolf head here and just plug it on in. I said plug it on in. Sometimes you have to move the wolf head out of the way just a little to give that extra bit of clearance you need for the legs in the back here. There we go. And there we go. We've got Weird Wolf in his robot mode. And that is a pretty sharp looking robot mode, if I do say so myself. The colors are very, very nice. They're showing up a little bit dark blue, but they're really a teal green in person. I've tried to play with the camera settings and I couldn't actually get it to really show up exactly like it is in person. But just keep in mind it's not as dark blue as it looks. So you can of course give him his sword, and it is a darn good looking sword in his hand, considering he has some pretty decent articulation. He does okay holding it and looking pretty good while doing that. I think that's pretty sharp. The head here is same as Code's. It has that circular thing, but it's a little bit more limited this time just because you have these green pieces on the top here, so it makes it a little bit difficult to turn, especially if you don't push his legs out of the way properly. But you can pull off some posing with it, and it can look down if you really want to. Articulation here, again, you're repeating a lot of what the wolf had. You got the same problem Code had with these upper arms not having a whole ton of movement. You get a little bit more out of Weird Wolf, just like I suspected you would, but not a whole ton. Full range of motion that way, you know, around. You do have the bicep rotation and then the forearm rotation, as well as the elbow joint, and then of course you saw the paws move, waist articulation. Fairly good legs, more limited than Code's were. Again, well, I guess not that much more limited. Code's look like they should be more, but they actually only get about that far apart. So with the added pieces down here, they bind up a little bit, so you don't get a whole ton of articulation out of the legs, but enough to make it worthwhile in my opinion. Really nice knees, and then you get the ankle tilt, well, rotation. So it's good. If you are okay with Code's articulation, you'll be okay with Weird Wolf's. Personally, I think it's just enough articulation to do things that look pretty cool with him, so I am completely happy with it. If you want, we can take this off and you can put Chrome Dome's head on if you really wanted. Looks kind of weird. Let's put this back on. Chrome Dome here. And then let's actually bring the two of these guys together so we can stand them side by side. Oops, there we go. Anyway, one together. Looks really good. I like the size they have going. For other Fansproject toys, here is their dead end. So you can see just significantly smaller than them. Now, Weird Wolf also has these little black pieces lying around him, and a lot of them are super hard to get out. So the instructions actually make it seem like they're for transformation. Frankly, most of these are kind of worthless in my opinion. I don't really understand the need for them, but you can rotate these on out, and some are just really tough to get out. There you go. Yeah, so you got all these little black pieces around him, and what they're actually intended to do is you can take his sword here and you can disconnect it like this, and then if you want to, you can take this and plug it in like so, close his sword on up, and now he's just got, you know, his sword attached to his leg for storage. Really, I don't find that any of these are all that useful. I'd rather have him just hold his sword. If there was some kind of tilt on this, so we could tilt it down a bit more, I think it would look a lot cooler than it does now. But hey, whatever, it's just a little extra that, you know, they added in that they didn't have to. So let's get this guy transformed back to his robot mode, and we'll take off his accessories. We don't need the sword, we'll just put that aside for now. And then we'll come to the head, very simple. Lift up his visor so it's straight up. Once you rotate his legs out here, everything kind of collapses up there to obscure his face a little. And then you'll just take this visor piece and just push it straight down here until it lines up pretty much flush with the back there. And we're done with the headmaster. So we're going to come to the legs here. Move his arms out of the way just to give us extra room to work with. Unpeg these and rotate them down. Make sure you clear those tabs so you don't accidentally break anything. And we'll rotate it again like that. Now you're going to take this foot and just rotate it around here like that. So now what we're going to do is extend these black pieces on out here. And you want these to be at a 90-degree angle with respect to the knee joint here, because you can see you got the hole and then the peg, and they mirror each other on each side. So we'll do that for both sides like this. And then what you want to do is switch them so these two pieces fit together to connect. Now we'll take this tail out of the way. Now if you look at the tail here, you've got these little ridges here, and what that does is it allows you to plug it into whichever piece is going to be the lower part of the wolf's abdomen area. It will peg onto either side, so if you know, have it this way it works, if you have it this way it works, it just depends what you want to do. Either way doesn't really matter too much. So once you have that, just kind of take this, I'm going to put it this way just because the legs are already lined up for that way for me. So you take it like that and everything should just peg together at the back here, and there you go, you got the rear end of Weird Wolf. You shouldn't get that side to side pull out of those black pieces, so you just kind of can clean up his legs now. We'll move that back, use the knee joint here to kind of clear this in, which will let the foot tuck up there a little bit more, and then kind of just fix his foot like so. So do that again on this side, clear it, fold it up, make his foot. Now we'll come around to his arms. They're really easy again to do. Just make sure you don't turn his bicep swivel. Use the forearm swivel and rotate it so that the hands are coming forward. Flip them up, and then make sure you have everything out of the way and flip that thumb piece on upwards like that. So that's done. Again, second time. So now we come to the last piece, and all you have to really do to finish this is to open up the red cockpit piece like so. Rotate everything out here. Rotate the wolf's head on up. Keep this open, and what you're going to do is this piece is going to flip up just a little, and what that's actually going to allow you to do is actually compress everything down here. A little bit hard to see, but it'll compress in so it makes a skinnier chest area for the wolf. And once that's all in, then you can take this and close it on down again on the piece. And then all you have left is the cockpit's open. We'll open this little flap. We'll take our headmaster. We'll sit him down. Put him on in. Close this up. Close this up. And there you go. You got Weird Wolf in his wolf mode. So pretty simple transformation. Still interesting. I like it a lot better than, you know, just being a stand-up, sit-down quadruped. Ultimately, if I was gonna have to make a recommendation between Code and Weird Wolf, I would say get Code. I've messed with Code way more than I've had the urge to mess with Weird Wolf. That's not saying he's a bad figure. I just think the transformation and everything of Code is a lot more fun. Weird Wolf is still good though. I think if you like Code, you'll end up liking Weird Wolf. And I'm pretty excited to see what they do with Smart Robin. So, yeah, this is T2RX6. I hope you guys enjoyed the review, and I'll see you next week.